Wow. Oh, there's Jeff. We did it, Ron. Absolutely, Hewie. Look at this. Thank you all so much for this incredible honor. We are truly speechless. Yeah, yes, thank you. Thank you all so much for this incredible honor. We are truly speechless. Yeah, yes, thank you.
So it's amazing when you dream about something, what can happen, right? Anyway, yes, I did watch the Oscars and we were in it, right, Hewie?
It's absolutely, that was fun.
At least in our dreams, eh?
And we didn't talk anything political.
No. Just happy there, and it's a new category, the technology for seniors. Yeah, new category.
Yeah, and I got the one for entertainment corner. See?
Well, we'll see your video next week then, right, Mike? All right. So this is, of course, March the 16th, Hewie, episode 310. So anyway, it's moving along.
We're just having too much fun with technology.
We are indeed. We of course have our premiere version out, and you can watch that after the show, episode 260. And actually, Alva, this might be interesting for you. I did a whole video about how to make your screen bigger if you have vision impaired. So that will be on after the show on our premiere version. Drew is going to talk about different file explorers, and Chris is going to talk about Google Photos on an iPhone. So really good three this week. So don't miss them. They're on there. If you do subscribe to our newsletter, of course, you will have access to these 2 days before everybody else, free of charge. So remember that. It comes out Saturday morning, and you'll have access to the link to that video. Hewie, how did your week go? Went pretty good?
Yep. Actually, I took a day off and didn't do much in the way of computing at all, and just vegged out in front of the TV.
Pretty cool. And Bill James, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine, except we're in the deep freeze. It's 27 degrees here.
Ooh.
After
that means you can stay at home. That means you can stay at home and focus on making some videos for us.
That's exactly true. Yeah, we had a nice warm weekend, but today, my gosh, it dropped us down into the freezing.
Yeah, excellent. Well, there you go. And Murray, are you still there? Can't see you. Don't know where Murray went. And Mike.
Well, we've got a roller coaster of weather like we normally do here. Today it's right around the 0 freezing mark. We're supposed to get some showers later in the day, and tomorrow's going to be plus 14 and rain instead of snow for St. Patrick's Day. So I'll take that part.
All right.
There
you go.
There I am.
You'll be busy today.
Probably just about the same as it is for you in your area. Mine is just about the same time.
Yeah, good.
I'm only a few miles south.
We're looking forward to your genealogy section today. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the links. I have my iMac here and the battery's dead. So
all right. Well, let's get on with the tech news of the week. Let's see what we had to say.
Welcome to Tech for Senior and our weekly news update. We've got a lot to cover, so let's jump right into the latest in technology.
This is Tech for Senior. It's Tech for Senior's tech news of the week. Today is March the 14th, broadcast, and we're recording it today, and we're going for our Monday show of March the 16th. Today, I want to welcome our crew. We have, of course, myself, Ron Brown, and then, of course, we have Hewie Poplock from Bradenton, Florida. We have Murray Strome from Victoria, British Columbia, and we have Mike Leaman from Moncton, New Brunswick. Just to remind everybody that as we follow along, you can follow along with us on our Facebook page. All these articles are posted daily to our Facebook page. And as we go through, if you want to refer back to the articles or follow along with us, just go to Tech for Senior on our Facebook page. Hewie, who's up first with the first article?
Mike again.
Mike again.
I don't know
Wow.
how I managed to do that all the time. Anyways, interesting one. Meta has confirmed it will drop end-to-end encryption for Instagram chats. And what does that mean to us as users? Well, the encryption chain will go away effective May 8th, 2026, allowing potential access to user messages. It's unclear why Meta is doing this, but if you're a Instagram chatter, you may be concerned about the fact that it's no longer encrypted. And if you're a gamer, Microsoft is bringing AI to your Xbox. So what's that going to do for gamers? Well, it's bringing Copilot to help you solve missions, puzzles, gameplay challenges directly in the game using voice or text commands, reducing the need to search online. So this is something happening, particularly if you're a gamer with the Xbox.
This is a new product out by Google. It's a 3-in-1 Pixel dock, so it does wireless charging at the same time for your phone, your watch, and for your earbuds, all on one device. It's available, I checked this morning, in the Canadian Google store for around $79 Canadian, and I think it's about $70 US on the US site. So it does all three charging in one. We'll be talking in this broadcast about Apple's educational discount, particularly for the new Neo MacBooks, but you can get $100 off, which is an educational discount. Now, these are supposed to be for, of course, educators, students, and parents of people who have kids in school. But all you have to do is when you go to the Apple website, at least in the US, you just go to the educational site within the Apple site, and you don't have to put anything in, and you get your $100 off. So it's just a matter of going to the educational section in the Apple site to get your $100 off. So just a little tip: we're going to save you $100 today by watching the show. So I said, Hewie, do you remember when we did the predictions for this year at the end of last year? I said this was going to be Apple's year, and this, of course, is. Apple is going to celebrate 50 years of thinking differently. This is their 50th anniversary. And to that, they're going to be releasing new products we'll be talking about. One, of course, is the MacBook Neo and the iPhone 17e. So some pretty exciting times for Apple this year. Well, this is the new Galaxy S26 Ultra. This, of course, as you can see in the image here, if you look straight on, you can see the screen, but if you look to the side, the screen is blacked out. And this is called the new privacy display, and it's only available on the S26 Ultra. Now, the reason I brought this up today, there are some owners who are having problems with this. They're getting fuzzy text, headaches, and a bit of eye strain. So this may not be for everyone. The other complaints that are occurring is that the screen isn't as bright as the S25. So you may want to, I think maybe you just may want to have a look at this before actually ordering it. You may want to go down to the store and actually look at the screen and see how you feel about it. This, of course, again, Apple will be bringing out their iPhone Fold. This article discusses the new pricing on it, and it looks as though it will come in at about $2,000 US. Now, before everyone says, oh, gee, that's a lot of money, you have to remember that in the under 50 age group, most of the people use their phone as their primary electronic device. So, in fact, I suspect these will be extremely popular. This is a new feature in Google Maps. Now, this is not available in Canada, only available in the United States so far, but this has two really exciting new features. The first is immersive navigation, and the article shows you how to turn this on, and that means that your images will be in 3D. So as you're driving along your cars, you'll see in the image there, you can sort of see it's a 3D image that's displayed. The other thing is that they're bringing out a new feature called Ask Maps, and you can simply tell Maps sort of what you want to do, such as you want to do a tour of this town or city, and you want to go to the highlights and so on and so forth, and it will create the whole route for you and explain everything. This is a huge feature and that's just coming out, and of course it's powered by Gemini. So 2 new features in Google Maps. Check if you live in the United States right now, just make sure your maps are updated and you'll have those 2 new exciting features.
Jobs most likely and least likely to be affected by AI revealed by Anthropic, which is Claude. And they are saying the professions are most and least vulnerable to be displaced or enhancements by artificial intelligence. So they say if you're a cook or a chef, you're pretty much going to keep your job. But if you're an accountant or a writer, you're in trouble. Microsoft is introducing a publish to web feature for PowerPoint and Excel, making it easier to share live embeddable versions of documents online. And of course, anytime I find anything for Notebook LM, I think of Ron, and a new Chrome extension integrates Notebook LM directly into YouTube, allowing users to quickly summarize and interact with video content.
Okay, the MyHeritage has announced a new, very powerful transcribing tool for transcribing information, handwriting on images, and the reviews say that it is really good. Now, if it follows the tradition that MyHeritage has done before, they say it's free for everybody right now, but they had that all their AI features for images was like that, but it wasn't too long before it got put behind a paywall. So I suggest if you want to try it, do it soon, because after a little while they'll charge a fortune for it.
Ron, this is you.
Alexa Plus gets new adults only personality option. And before you get all excited about that, they said it's pretty mild and your grandmother wouldn't even blush with the comments that it makes. It's not available if you have the children option activated, but this is a new personality called adults only.
And it's optional.
Optional, yeah. WhatsApp's launching a parent-linked accounts for preteens. So if you are a parent and you're thinking about having your kids on WhatsApp, this may be an option for you.
Basically, what they've done is they have actually created a robot it's only a fruit fly, but they have programmed its complete brain, so it behaves exactly like a real fruit fly, and they've got the whole brain with an AI that they've created that runs it.
Okay. Well, interesting news. The next one, our next section is, of course, going to be with Murray. His topic today is going to be building and verifying your family tree. Now, I have his video and I'll play it, but to just let everyone know that we keep all Murray's videos that he's made on our website under genealogy. So if you are new to the show or you're just learning about genealogy and you want to go and you want to have a look at his past ones, I think this is about the 6th one he's done. And we're going to have a whole book. He probably can write a book by the end of the year. He's going to have a whole bunch of videos all for you to help you with different aspects of genealogy. And these are all available right free of charge on our website. Just go there and look under genealogy and they will be there. This will probably be up about midweek. And as Murray creates these, they will be available for you for use with your clubs or whatever you want to do. All right, let's see what Murray has to say today.
Today, I'm going to talk about how to build and verify your family tree. This presentation assumes that you've followed the earlier sessions in this series. If you missed any of them or would like to watch them again, they're all available on the Tech for Senior website. I'll put the link shown here into the chat. The Introduction to Genealogy session covered gathering your information, creating an account at FamilySearch.org, entering everything you know about your recent ancestors, and linking it to the main tree. The DNA presentations explained the basics of DNA, how it supports genealogy research, and how to choose the right testing company for your first test. Next, I explained why you may want your master family tree stored on your own computer. I also reviewed the software options available and how to choose the right application for your particular needs. The most recent presentation was all about RootsTech, the world's largest genealogy convention. You can still register to access more than 1,500 recorded presentations, not only from this year, but from previous years. And remember, Find Your Relatives at RootsTech is open until April 30th. How many cousins did you find? Although not part of the genealogy playlist, I also gave a presentation on Obsidian. Obsidian is a powerful note-taking application, essentially a personal wiki or library, and it's excellent for genealogy because it focuses on linking information rather than just filing it away. Some ways that you can use it include research plans and logs, track your breadcrumbs, link them to the ancestors you were working on, life stories, write detailed biographies linked directly to your source notes, transcriptions, keep searchable copies of census records, wills, and other documents, privacy. Everything is stored locally on your computer. Web Clipper, capture evidence instantly, including text, images, URLs, and access dates. Perfect for citations. By now you've gathered your information, created your family search account, entered your own details, and added your parents and grandparents. You're connected to the global tree, and you've installed the genealogy software of your choice. Now it's time to verify the information. Professional genealogists follow the standards set by the Board for Certification of Genealogists. These are excellent guidelines, but they're designed for people who publish or work professionally. I don't follow those standards strictly. For example, I don't usually pay for access to records beyond what's included in my DNA-related subscriptions. So my proofs may not meet the full BCG certification standards, but they are still careful, solid, and well-reasoned, I hope. I follow the BCG requirements rather loosely, just enough to satisfy myself that the information is probably correct. A professional genealogist would search broadly enough to avoid missing relevant evidence, ensure that every fact is supported by a properly cited source, compare and interpret all sources, documents, DNA, and context, resolve any conflicting evidence and explain why, and finally write a clear, logical conclusion supported by evidence. I use artificial intelligence extensively in my genealogy research and even more for preparing these presentations. I want to emphasize that I do not pay for any AI tools. Everything I show you can be done using the free versions. For presentations, I also use free open source software that works on Apple, Microsoft, and Linux. In addition to Roots Magic, I do use a few Windows applications that I purchased. I have not found a better video editor than Pinnacle Studio. And for audio editing, I highly recommend Goldwave. It's very inexpensive. I paid $55 Canadian decades ago and still receive free updates. For converting voice to text, Whisper AI is included free with Goldwave, and it is excellent. By the way, Goldwave is a Canadian company. Now let me show you a brief example of how to add and verify information in your family tree. I've entered the key information for myself, my parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents into RootsMagic 11, and I've also transferred my information to Family Search. When I added details for my deceased parents, I was able to connect to the world tree because someone had already entered them. Your software may be different, but the process is similar. RootsMagic can display the Family Search ID next to each name and it can search for records on Family Search, MyHeritage, and Ancestry. If your software doesn't have those features, you can still do the same task manually with copy and paste. I knew that my parents were married on October 1st, 1937, but I'd never verified it. Genealogists encourage us to create research plans with a clear objective and then track our progress in a research log. Being lazy, I asked AI to create the plan and log for me. I asked for a format suitable for Obsidian, but you could choose Word, Excel, or anything you like. It created a very comprehensive plan with links to the places where I could find the information. Then I decided I didn't want to do all that work, so I asked Claude to do the research for me. Here's what it produced. As you can see, it's quite extensive, with many links to actual records and properly formatted citations. I didn't use all of them, but I used enough to verify the marriage date. I copied the relevant citations into Roots Magic and Family Search. It's very important to give a clear reason for adding or modifying anything in Family Search, because it's a global tree and other people can look at it and add or change. Always add the source and citation so that others will understand how you reached your conclusion. AI found several documents which I downloaded and added to my family tree along with citations. The most important was from the Lethbridge Herald, October 5th, 1937, at page 6, the day after their wedding. I asked Gemini to provide a transcription of the article exactly as printed. It looked good at first, until I noticed it said that one of the bridesmaids wore a dusty rose lace frock and the other wore seal blue. I didn't remember seeing that in the article. Sure enough, the original simply said pink lace and blue. So I refined my prompt and told it I wanted a word-for-word transcription with no embellishments or hallucinations. Then it got it right. Well, I'm pretty well out of time for today. Remember, all my presentations are available on the Tech for Senior website if you'd like to watch them again. Next time, I'll show you exactly where to put your records and citations in your genealogy software and in Family Search. Thanks for watching and have a great week.
Thanks, Murray. Excuse me just a second. We'll get that up on the website this week, and it'll be a nice addition to your existing one. So thanks for doing that. All right, the next one up is I wanted to talk. It's a video that I created, and it's on MacBook Neo. I wanted just to talk a little bit about it first before we start. This is, of course, the year of Apple because it's Apple's 50th anniversary. I just had my 49th year last week, but this is Apple's 50th. So they pulled out all the stops, and I think one of the big announcements they have, of course, is the MacBook Neo. Now, why is this important? Well, it's the president of ASUS Computers said this is going to shake the foundations of the PC industry. And I think it will. I think it's also going to shake the foundations big time of the Chromebook industry. So this is a MacBook laptop that you're going to be able to purchase in the United States for $599 or get the educational discount, and it will be $499. It's going to be about $899 in Canada, and it's amazing that you will be able to buy a MacBook for that price. Not only that, but of course, most of the people, over 55% of the people in the United States now have iPhones as their phones. So it's the same ecosystem that you're in. It's a perfect match. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with this product, but I think it's going to be a massive success and maybe change the way Chromebooks are looked at and maybe even PCs. So let's have a look and see what they have to say about that. The second thing I wanted to say before we start the video is the initial clip you'll see me using a MacBook Neo. And I sent the clip out, of course, to our team, and Hewie said, yeah, I bought another computer. and Bill James welcomed me to the MacBook Club. So they all thought this was pretty good that I got a MacBook Neo. Well, I did no such a thing. I just simply took a headshot of myself like you're looking at now. Went over to the Mac website and pilfered a video of the MacBook Neo, and I put it into Gemini. Now, not what I was talking about last week, which was Flow. I just used plain old Gemini. I hit the create a video, and I added those two pictures, and boom, that you'll see what happened in the first part of this video, and I overlaid it onto, you'll see how it worked. But anyway, it's pretty cool. And that's exactly how I did the introduction with Hewie and I. I just got a picture of Hewie, picture of myself, and said, make a video about us accepting the Academy Awards. Have some fun with this, guys. It is a lot of fun, and it's super easy to do. And you can do it with your existing Gemini. It's not anything different. All the Gemini you guys use, just instead of choosing images, choose the video. So here, let's have a look let's have a look at the video, and we'll see.
The future's loading, watch it all begin. A brand new
All right, so let's get
digital
right
world
into
is
this.
pulling us
Apple just
in.
pulled a move they almost never do. They went straight for the jugular on price. And I gotta tell you, I think there's a much, much bigger strategy going on here than just selling a cheap laptop. They're not just dipping their toes in a new market. They are trying to completely rewrite the rulebook. Just look at that number. $599 for a brand new Mac. You know, from a company that has built its entire identity on being premium, on having premium price tags, this number is a genuine shock to the system. And then they did this. $499 for students. Now, that's not just a nice little discount. That's a declaration of war on the entire budget PC and Chromebook market that has owned schools and colleges for, the last decade? So let's officially meet this thing. It's called the MacBook Neo. It's got that classic aluminum design. It comes in some really fun colors like indigo and citrus, and it dropped on March 11th. Really, what it is, it's Apple's big attempt to give you the MacBook experience, the look, the feel, the software, for the price of an entry-level iPhone.
But come on, you and I both know there is no such thing as a free lunch, right? Especially not from Apple. A price this low doesn't just happen. It's the end result of a long, very calculated list of cuts and compromises. So the real question is, what got the axe? Let's just get right to it. What's the catch? Because with a price tag like this, there is always a catch. Okay, so this table makes the trade-offs pretty clear. Instead of one of their powerful M-series chips, it's got an A18 Pro, basically an iPhone chip. Now, it's going to be plenty fast for browsing and email, but you're not going to be editing 4K video on this thing. The screen doesn't have that P3 wide color, which really just means if you're a photographer or a designer, you'll notice the colors are a bit less punchy. And the ports are just standard USB-C, not the super fast Thunderbolt you'd need for fancy external displays. So yeah, on paper, the Air is the clear winner. But trust me, the cuts go way deeper than just the spec sheet. First up, something we've all completely taken for granted for years, a backlit keyboard. If you ever work at night or in a dim room, you're gonna feel this one. It's just gone. Next up, MagSafe. You know, Apple's amazing magnetic charging connector that they just brought back to a standing ovation. The thing that saves your laptop from getting yanked to the floor. Yeah, not here. You're back to charging with a plain old USB-C port. Need to connect to a high-end 6K display? Or transfer a massive video file in just a few seconds? Well, for that, you need Thunderbolt ports. On the Neo, you get standard USB-C. It's a huge differentiator that's now being saved for the more expensive Macs. And finally, here's the change you will literally feel every single time you touch it. The slick, modern Force Touch trackpad is gone. It's been replaced with an old-school physical trackpad that actually clicks down. It's a total throwback and a very, very obvious cost-saving measure. And the list, well, it just keeps going. You get a smaller battery, it charges slower, there's no True Tone on the display to adapt to the room's light, you've got last-gen Wi-Fi, and the camera doesn't have that cool center stage feature that follows you around. Every single one of these was a small, deliberate cut to somehow hit that magical $599 price. Okay, I know, that is a long list of cons. For anyone who follows tech, this might sound like a total deal breaker, but this is where the whole story pivots. Because what if we've been asking the completely wrong question this whole time? The real question isn't what's missing. It's who is this laptop actually for? In this quote from a Reddit user just nails it. It cuts right to the heart of the matter.
The person asking for a laptop recommendation, they're not some power user obsessing over Thunderbolt speeds. They're just a normal person who needs a computer that works.
This is who it's for. It's for the student writing an essay, the parent managing the family budget, the person who basically lives in their web browser, streaming Netflix and answering emails. For this huge group of people, P3 wide color is just meaningless tech jargon. They don't own any Thunderbolts accessories. What they care about is a computer that's reliable, easy to use, and has a price that actually makes sense. So now we get to the main event, because this is where Apple's strategy really clicks into place. The MacBook Neo isn't made to steal sales from the MacBook Air. No, it is a direct, calculated attack on the budget Windows laptop market.
And this slide right here, this is the whole argument in a nutshell. Think about it. What else can you buy for $599? The Neo gives you this premium, solid aluminum body. The competition, usually a creaky plastic shell. The Neo has a bright, beautiful 500 nit screen. The competition, a dim, kind of washed out 250 nit screen. You close the lid on the Neo, it goes to sleep, and it wakes up when you open it. The competition, you might pull a dead-hot brick out of your backpack. It's the clean, polished Mac OS versus an operating system drowning in bloatware and driver problems.
And that's really the bottom line. For $600, no PC maker on the planet can compete with this combination of high-end hardware, feel, and polished software. They just don't have the supply chain or the profit margins from their other products to make it work. This is Apple's checkmate.
But wait, the story doesn't end there. Selling one laptop, that's not the end game. The MacBook Neo is a Trojan horse. It's designed to pull off a much bigger, long-term strategic mission for Apple.
See, this device is the ultimate gateway drug to the Apple ecosystem. You get a student totally hooked on an amazing $499 laptop experience. What phone do you think they're going to want next? What watch? What services are they going to subscribe to? This is all about capturing a customer for life, starting with their very first computer.
And in the process, Apple is trying to fundamentally reset our expectations. All of a sudden, a plastic body, a dim screen, and a buggy sleep mode, they're just not acceptable anymore, even on a cheap laptop. The default computer for the average person just got a massive, massive upgrade.
So I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. By completely ignoring the tech nerds who obsess over specs and focusing like a laser on the real-world experience for everybody else, has Apple just created the new default laptop for millions and millions of people? I guess the market is about to tell us.
Okay, interesting times, Hewie? All right, I think you're up next.
Well, that's good. Let me get everything set here. Cookies are everywhere online, but most people don't really understand what they are. I'm Hewie Poplock. Let's set up the core question. What exactly are cookies, and why should anyone care? This is going to be explained in plain, everyday language. No technical jargon. Some practical examples we will cover are shopping carts staying full when you leave a site, streaming services, remembering what you watched, personalized recommendations. Cookies actually make your online life easier and more convenient in ways you probably take for granted. We're going to demystify something you interact with constantly but rarely think about. Imagine a website that doesn't remember you. No saved shopping carts, no remembered passwords, no personalized recommendations. This is what the web would look like without cookies. Cookies are the silent infrastructure that makes personalization possible. It's like being a stranger every time you visit a grocery store. Cookies are essentially the web's memory system. Understanding cookies puts you in control of your own experience. It's 1994, a pivotal moment in web history. Let me introduce Lou Montulli, a Netscape engineer who changed everything with one idea. The problem he was solving: websites had no way to remember users between page visits. His solution borrowed the magic cookie concept from Unix computing. Store small data on the user's machine. Send it back with each request. Simple but revolutionary. Note that his original invention was in 1994, but the formal spec didn't come until 2011. But it had a lasting impact. We still use essentially the same cookie format today, 30 plus years later. Cookies are like a conversation between your browser and the website's server. Here is the 4-step process. Visit site. You navigate to a website like Amazon. Set cookie sent. The server responds with a set cookie header, giving your browser a cookie to store. Subsequent requests. Every time you return or interact with that site again. Cookie header. Your browser automatically sends that cookie back with each request. The key point is that all this happens automatically and invisibly in the background. Just like you'd show a membership card to get benefits, your browser presents the cookie on every visit without you having to do anything. The browser stores and manages this securely. It's seamless from the user's perspective. Cookies aren't all the same. They have different purposes, lifespans, and security levels. Session cookies exist only in memory while your browser is open and then vanish. Perfect for keeping you logged in during a single browsing session. Persistent cookies saved to your hard drive and stick around for extended periods. Example, Google Analytics uses these to recognize you when you come back to a site. Secure and HTTP only. These are locked down. They only travel over encrypted HTTPS connections, and JavaScript can't access them. Critical for protecting sensitive data like banking credentials from being stolen. Third-party cookies. These are the sneaky ones. They're placed by a different domain other than the one you're actually visiting. Ad networks like DoubleClick use these across thousands of websites to track your behavior and build a profile of you. Understanding these 4 types helps explain why cookies are so useful for websites, but also why privacy advocates worry about them. This is the core mechanism of how cookies work. A two-way conversation between the server and browser. On the left side, you'll see the server, and it goes to the browser. The set cookie header, and server sends this response header to tell the browser to store a cookie. The security attributes. Path controls where it's used. Secure means HTTPS only. HTTP only blocks JavaScript access. Same site equals LAX or LAX prevents some cross-site requests. These aren't optional. They're critical protection. The right side, or the browser to server, the automatic behavior. Every subsequent request automatically includes the cookie header. The browser does this without you doing anything. It's automatic. Multiple cookies can be sent at once. Session ID and cart ID are in the example. The security implications. Cookies are a secret handshake because both sides know the protocol and follow it automatically. Shopping cart persistence is a real-world application of cookies that directly impacts revenue. An Amazon example. It uses persistent cookies called Session ID, keeps the cart alive for 24 hours, works even after closing the tab, navigating away, or restarting your device. No login is required. The cookie remembers everything. The Etsy example takes it further. It restores abandoned carts for up to a week. This cookie-driven feature increased conversion rates by 12%. That's a direct revenue boost from a single small file. Cookies go way beyond basic functionality. They're what make the web feel personalized and tailored to you. Think of them as invisible concierge working behind the scenes. Cookies enable these companies to deliver customized experience that feels natural and intuitive. Not all one size fits all. Here is the stark reality. 70% of ad tech spending in 2023 still relied on third-party cookies. This shows how deeply entrenched tracking was in digital advertising. Google Chrome eliminated third-party cookies. This is the biggest change in digital advertising in over a decade. This forced advertisers to completely rethink their strategies. The privacy landscape is shifting fast. All major browsers are now actively blocking tracking. 3 major moves are happening right now. The bottom line, passive tracking is becoming extinct. If you're relying on third-party cookies for your business model, you need a new strategy. How can you see and delete cookies today? Managing cookies is easier than most people think. No technical skills required. All major browsers have built-in privacy controls that take just a few clicks. For instance, Chrome 2025, Settings, Privacy and Security, and then Clear Browsing Data. Check cookies and other site data. Select All Time for complete removal, then click Clear Data. You can also view individual site cookies under Site Settings, and then go to View Permissions and Data. Safari or Mac OS 15. Safari, and then Preferences, and then Privacy, and then Manage Website Data. It shows complete list of sites storing cookies. You can delete individual sites or use Remove All for everything. Microsoft Edge, the settings, then cookies and site permissions, and then cookies and data stored, and then see all cookies and site data. It's organized by domain for easy browsing. It can search, sort by size, and delete individually or in bulk. Here's an important thought though. Pick your browser and walk through these steps. It takes less than a minute to clean up your cookies. Security risks you should know. Real breaches, real consequences. Start with the 2022 British Airways breach as a concrete example. Attackers stole session cookies, not passwords. The scale, 380,000 travelers affected with personal and booking data exposed. The attack method, no password cracking needed, just a stolen cookie. The death of third-party cookies isn't the end of personalization. It's the beginning of privacy-first alternatives. These new techniques let us target ads effectively while keeping user data safe. Fledge. Google's solution puts the power back in your browser. Advertisers bid on your interests, but they never learn who you are. First-party storage. These are the old reliable tools, local storage and IndexedDB. UID 2.0, this one's different. It's consent-based from the ground up. Users knowingly opt in and their email gets hashed for privacy. These aren't perfect solutions, but they're a major shift towards giving users control while still allowing meaningful ad targeting. The industry is moving toward consent and transparency rather than silent tracking. Here's a best practice checklist for end users. You don't need technical expertise to protect yourself online. These 4 simple habits make real difference in reducing tracking and session attacks. Block third-party cookies. It won't break your normal browsing. Use a password manager. Clear cookies regularly. On personal devices, aim for monthly clearing. It removes stale trackers and reduces your data footprint. Consider a privacy browser. Enable Do Not Track in settings where available. These 4 practices together create a strong foundation for protecting your privacy without requiring you to be a security expert. This is actionable and immediate. Here is one action. Open browser settings, find Privacy Cookies section, toggle Block Third-Party Cookies on. This takes less than 30 seconds, no technical skills needed. Cookies are not the villain. They enable convenience and personalization. The real point is understanding how they work, and it gives you agency and choice. This is about digital literacy, not being tech savvy. Here are 3 takeaways from this presentation. Cookies equal small files that remember you, personalize content, and keep you logged in. Third-party tracking cookies are disappearing anyway, but you don't have to wait. You have real control right now through simple browser settings. Taking control of your web footprint isn't complicated. It's just about making informed choices. And now you know about cookies.
Thank you, Hewie. I'm sure there'll be lots of questions about that. Great. Thanks a lot. Now, I have one little change in the program today. I was going to talk about your home screen, but I was watching Chris Gould's show on Sunday, and she showed this new relatively new feature in Google Photos, and I spent the weekend adding more and more pictures into my Google Photos well, I'll talk about that in the Q&A, otherwise we're going to run out of time. But so I've switched it. We'll play it, the organizing your home screen next week, but this is actually uploading from a backup in Google Photos, and it's done by Chris, and I think you'll enjoy it. I learned a lot about this. It's a real cool feature.
The purpose of Google Photos is to collect all of your photos and videos in one place, and that is your Google account in the cloud. If you take all your photos with phones, then all you have to do is use the Google Photos app. You use the iOS app on your Apple iPhone and the Android app on your Android phone. You install the app, you turn on backup, and voila, every photo you take with your phone gets copied to the cloud in your Google account. But what if you also have lots of photos from years past on your computer, on the hard drive, or maybe even on an external hard drive or thumb drives? How do you get those up to the same place? You can do it manually, and that's fine if you only have a few folders. But if you have thousands, then you want it to be an automatic process. Up until now, you had to use a software called Google Drive for desktop, and it was kind of complicated. So I am just thrilled that there is a new feature now with Google Photos on the web where you do not need Drive for desktop. It's so easy. It's just called Backup Folder. I'm Chris Gould with Geeks on Tour, and I'm going to show you how to use Backup Folder. In order to demonstrate this, I'm going to use a fake account. It's our imaginary friend, Danny Demo. So here I am at a web browser, Google Chrome, and I am signed in to Danny's account, and I go to Google Photos. So now I am looking at the cloud, at the Google Photos account in the cloud with all of Danny's photos. And he doesn't have very many. This is it. Just a few photos, scanning the years from 2019 back to 1997. I don't need to use any special software now. As long as I know what folder on my computer that the photos are in, all I have to do is click this plus and then choose Backup Folders. Now I have to find the folder. It's on this PC, my local C drive, but as I say, this could be on an external drive, anything that you have access to on your computer. Users and Danny's pictures. So actually, I don't even need to go down into it. I just leave it at Danny's pictures and select folder. Now I have to give it permission to view the files. And that's all there is to it. It's starting to back up all of the subfolders beneath Danny's pictures. So all you have to do is put photos in that folder and they will get automatically backed up to your Google Photos. There weren't that many. It says 134 items. Let's take a look. Here's some pictures from Italy. So there was an Italy folder, Alaska, and Fiji. So all of these were automatically uploaded. Now I want to show you one more thing. I'm going to go back out to the folders and show you Danny's photos, Danny's pictures, and here were the folders that got uploaded. Now, there's another folder that wasn't inside that of wedding photos. All I have to do is drag wedding photos into Danny's pictures folder, and now when I go back to Google Photos, those will be uploading as well. And that's all you have to do. The photos that were in the wedding folder that you just added to Danny's pictures folder were automatically uploaded. From now on, anything that you put into that folder gets automatically uploaded to your Google Photos. However, there's one thing though that you should know. There were several folders within Danny's photos, right? It does not maintain that folder structure. There are no folders in Google Photos, and it did not automatically make albums. If I click on albums, we only have 3 albums: National Parks, Chris and Jim, and episode 265. There is no wedding album, there is no Fiji album, etc. There is another video that will show you how to do that. I'm referring to Geeks on Tour tutorial video number 710. Will show you how to make folders and turn them into albums in Google Photos. But I hope you agree that this is a wonderfully easy way to get photos from your computer to your Google Photos so that all of your photos are in one place.
Well, so interesting times, and we'll talk more about that in the Q&A. I have some thoughts on that. Now, before we get into the entertainment center, I just want to say goodbye to everybody over on our live stream to YouTube. Don't forget about our premiere video that's already online. Be sure and watch that. And don't forget, we'll be back same time, same place next week. Mike, let me just turn off the live stream here. There we go. Go ahead.
Okay, so this week from the entertainment corner, I've got the video ready to roll here, so we'll play that, Ron, and then we'll come back and talk about the 2 selections this week.
Okay, excellent. Let's have a look here.
All right, let's zoom in on one single day in the calendar. A day that, might look pretty ordinary at first glance, but it is absolutely packed with these incredible moments that really shaped our culture. And that day, it's March 16th.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. That sounds like the start of a really, really weird joke, right? But believe it or not, it's a genuine historical puzzle. What on earth could possibly tie these 3 together? The answer is the calendar itself. Each one of them had a massive, history-making moment on this very same day, just in different years. So today, let's pull on those threads and see the amazing story of March 16th. And we're going to kick things off with the music, because March 16th has been this huge, game-changing day in music history. We're talking about everything from rock legends to brand new industry standards. Okay, just look at this timeline. It is absolutely stacked. In '64, you've got the Beatles, with a staggering 2 million advance sales for Can't Buy Me Love. And then in '79, Twisted Sister sells out a major New York venue without even having a record deal. I mean, that's just pure, raw fan power. But look at 1968 and 1999. These 2 moments, they didn't just break records. They actually forced the music industry to create whole new ways to measure success.
So when Otis Redding's Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay went to #1, it was just this incredibly beautiful but also incredibly bittersweet moment. Redding had tragically passed away in a plane crash only 3 months before. This made him the very first artist of the rock era to have a #1 hit after his death. It's a heartbreaking milestone for sure, but one that really set a precedent for years to come.
And then you fast forward to 1999, and the music industry literally had to invent a new trophy. Gold and platinum just weren't cutting it anymore. So on March 16th, the RIAA created the Diamond Award for albums that sold, get this, 10 million copies. It's a number so massive, it's kind of hard to even wrap your head around, you know? It's a level reserved for the absolute giants.
But this story of March 16th isn't just about what was happening in the recording studio. On this day, some of the most famous stages in America, from Broadway to Nashville, were hosting moments that captured the country's story in completely different ways.
I mean, think about this for a second. On March 16th, 1969, Broadway opens 1776, a musical that turns American history into this grand piece of theater. Then, exactly 5 years later to the day, a totally different kind of history is being made in Nashville. The new Grand Ole Opry opens its doors, the literal heart of country music. It's just a fascinating snapshot, isn't it? One stage looking back at America's founding, another celebrating a living, breathing part of its culture.
And get this, the story gets even wilder. This wasn't just some ribbon-cutting ceremony. The guest of honor was the President of the United States, Richard Nixon. And he didn't just give a speech and wave. No. He actually sat down at a piano, right there on the Grand Ole Opry stage, and played. It's one of those you-had-to-be-there moments in both politics and music. Truly surreal.
All right, so let's shift gears from the White House to, well, the barnyard. Remember that cartoon pig I mentioned at the very beginning? Well, here he is. On this day back in 1935, Porky Pig officially became, well, official. His creator filed the copyright, making sure one of animation's most iconic, stuttering stars would be around for a long, long time. That's all, folks.
You know, a day isn't just about what happened, it's also about who was born. And March 16th has given us some true cultural icons, a really amazing and diverse bunch of people.
I mean, what a crew! You got the king of the one-liners himself, Henny Youngman, and the absolute force of nature that was Jerry Lewis. Then in music, you've got Jerry Jeff Walker, the man who gave us the beautiful Mr. Bojangles, and rock royalty, Nancy Wilson from Heart. And then, yeah boy, the one and only hype man, Flavor Flav. Come on, what a lineup.
Of course, for every beginning, there's often an end. March 16th has also been a day where we've had to say goodbye to some truly brilliant artists, people who left behind legacies that still resonate today.
You hear that lyric and you instantly know it, right? It's just this powerful promise, an incredible performance, and it perfectly captures the spirit of the amazing Motown legend, Tammy Terrell.
So tragically, on this day in 1970, Tammy Terrell passed away from a brain tumor at just 24 years old. An unbelievable talent gone way too soon. Years later, on the same day, we also lost Frank Sinatra Jr., who spent his career keeping his father's legendary songbook alive. And more recently, Bobby Caldwell, the master of blue-eyed soul, whose song What You Won't Do for Love is just timeless. 3 incredible voices, all lost on the same day.
So after that whole journey through history, you might be asking, how can I plug into the vibe of this day, right now? Well, we've got you covered with a couple of picks to check out.
For a movie, we're recommending the 2014 film Summer Snow. It's a really moving story about family and faith, and you can find it streaming on Tubi. And for your music pick, something perfect for this time of year, the one and only Johnny Cash with his classic song, 40 Shades of Green. And that really brings us full circle. We've seen how just one day on the calendar can hold so much. Births, deaths, chart-topping hits, even presidential piano solos. It kind of makes you wonder, right? As you go about your day today, what's happening right now? What songs, what ideas, what moments are people in the future going to look back on as history? What will be our legacy? Thanks for joining me.
So, interesting day today. A lot of things happened. The movie for this week is Summer Snow. And the storyline is Hallie Benson is a small girl with a big heart. Unfortunately, her creative ways of helping often create a mess. Dan Benson doesn't cook, do hair, or know how to help his 3 children without his beautiful wife and her unshakable faith. I'm not going to say any more. We'll play the trailer here in a sec. The story is a story about dandelions. And keep your Kleenex box handy because you're going to need it. So if you'll play that one, and then you can come back with the trailer, and then we'll do the musical selection. This week, Johnny Cash, because of St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, 40 Shades of Green. So happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. And Murray, just so you know, I did some looking on Family Search, and believe it or not, Lucille Ball and Walt Disney are both my 8th cousin.
Well done. So, Mike, that's got to be the least known song that Johnny Cash sung.
It sure is. What I did was I went looking for country music songs for St. Patrick's Day for my presentation tonight, and that's the first one that came up. And I kind of like it. I hadn't heard it before.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you. Well, we are over a little bit on our time, but anyway, thanks everyone for coming. We will be moving into the Q&A now.
Our Monday show is recorded live and available on the Tech for Senior YouTube channel later in the day and includes tech news of the week, computer skills, photography, genealogy, and selections of music and videos. Join us in person for our 7th year of fun with technology.